Hey, 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 everybody. How are you guys all doing? And gals and everybody, it's good to be back. It's been it's been a while. Doug, how long have you been waiting? 10:07 p.m. You had to put that in yesterday. So I'm pretty sure you're still not here, but you'll be back. And I can say that I'm 99% sure I have no clown items. Can't say for sure what Karen might have, or Karen, Janet from Antiques by Karen. Now Karen had a bunch of clowns in her house. I was there. So what do you get? Anyway, so it's good to be back. It was interesting coming back from Janet's in Rochester. Hi Iris, how are you? And they'll come in. Everybody's used to me being on Wednesdays, and so it's just going to be a little bit of a learning curve. I had to change things around, um, so to speak. So that's where we are. Crescent Moon Collectibles, how are you? How are you, Elizabeth? Anyway, but I have a really, I think, exciting show. Gina, how are you? Jan will be back, will be with us in a few minutes. She's here, but she's searching for another light because she's in a room at her house that she hasn't been in for a while, and it's her quilting room. And it's the one room in her house that I never went in. And she asked me if I peeked in it, and I said no. And she said, why? And I said, I don't mind going through everything at your mom's house because you told me I could. And I don't mind going through everything at the property because we're both looking at stuff. I said, but this is your house. And I'm not opening drawers and going through stuff and stuff like that. So we never did get up there for her to show me her quilting room. So she is in it. She's in it. She's in it. She's in it. Um, she's getting another light because she felt like it was too dark, and I told her it was fine by me, but I want her to be comfortable too. So I know that Lissa and I did a oh. Are you ready for this? Are you ready? Are you ready? She's here. Boom, laka.
Hi, everybody.
And we're just going to do this for a little bit. Hi, Lynn. Disability Positive is Miss Lynn. And I'll just let you guys say hi when you need to say hi, whatever. So I know that Lissa and I had done something on textiles and linens, but I just got video bombed
You
somewhere.
did?
Dren
Oh,
went by.
Dren.
Yeah. So I'm in the dining room because there's just no way. There's just no way with what we're going to talk about. Well, Gregory, how are you? And Dave, Midwest Picker. Hello, Greg. Sorry, I probably should. Rocky Mountain Resale. Do I know you? Could you put your name in the chat, please? And Michelle, how are you? Anyway, we always have to have a little bit of fun. Oh wow, Noella's quiet and Janet is loud. Can't win for losing today. How am I for the rest of you guys and gals? Hopefully okay.
Let me turn it down.
Turn it down. Do I need to turn my volume up?
I'm turning it down. No, you're
Turning.
good.
I'm like on the low side, which is good for me because you guys know I'm loud.
There's it better for me?
That's fine for me. Hi, Alyssa. How are you? Um, and Miss Julie, AJ's Retro and Vintage, is in the house. Triple threat, I tell you. So Jan's jam in real life before all the mom stuff happened is, come on, tell me
Quilting.
what's your jam, Jan?
Quilting is my jam.
Quilting is her jam.
Was
Brett,
my
where's your
jam.
party? Brett, did you bring some Snickers? I might need one later. Oh heavens. And did I miss Evan? I missed you, Amy. Amy, miss. Miss Amy Evan Owens. So everybody's trickling in. So today we have a large topic, quilts, tatting, crochet, knitting, macrame. We're going to touch on a little bit. I wasn't able to get to my storage unit and get my macrame stuff. And then the different forms of needlework that you can do. And when I'm talking about needlework, I'm talking about crewel, embroidery, cross stitch, that kind of stuff. So we're going to try to touch a little bit on everything, but the main thing that I really want to talk about is quilts and vintage quilts. And so if you guys take a minute and you want to look at anything that I'm talking about, I put a lot of links in the description. And tatting is actually not as difficult as it looks. It's just very tedious and time consuming. It's actually probably easier to do than fine crochet, because unless you're doing needle tatting.
They're just
What do you
knots.
think? Huh?
They're just knots. There's just a lot of them, and they're really, really tiny.
Yep. And the same with macrame. As a matter of fact, macrame and tatting have a lot in common. So you're doing a plastic canvas program. Oh, I didn't even think about that. I have a bunch of that too.
I got a bunch of that too.
And you know, the plastic canvas is hard to come by, from what I was told. Tatting is one thing you never learned how to do. Mom couldn't teach me, I guess. Well, it's pretty hot right now, and there's a lot of videos out there on the internet. So I put two really good ones in the description link down below. Never Too Old. Yep. Oh, did I miss Never Too Old? And Nancy Smith. I don't quilt that much. My mother is a quilting fiend. Jan is a quilting fiend. She hasn't for a while, but she'll get back to it.
Looking forward to it.
Our quilts, Greg, Rocky Mountain Resale, would like to know, and this is a very good question, Greg. Hey, are quilts a completely different category than crochet blankets? Are you going to talk about crochet? We are, Greg. We're going to talk about crochet. And yes, quilting is sewing. That is a vintage early 1900s quilt. And did I bring any of my crochet blankets down? Oh, wow. I may have to go.
I got some.
Upstairs.
You need them?
Oh, good. Perfect. Ooh, he said. All right, you guys. Hi, Renee. Renee Duval is my friend in the area that we get into trouble here. So when so she's like my Jen here.
I met Renee, right? On FaceTime?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Chris from Crispy's Toys and Treasures is in the house. I met up with him in Syracuse when I was there. Gina is salty all the time. Don't mind her. She means everything she says. Anyway, how do you repair vintage quilts, Nancy? That is a really good question, and there is a link below on that if you go down there, and we will also talk. Nice to meet you too, Greg. You guys, whoop! All right, so I'm going to ask Jan to give us a little bit of her history on quilting and her other passion, which is some of the vintage sewing machines that she likes to use for quilting and other things, and that she repairs. So, Jan, I'm going to make you big. Go, girl.
Okay, let's see. Where did I start? I started probably 15 years ago or 16 years ago. Might have been more than that. Can't remember. So I walked into a Joann Fabrics, and inside of the Joann Fabrics, there was, to my surprise, another store inside of Joann's, and it was a Viking dealer, a Viking sewing machine dealer. I did not know this. I did not know that all of the little sewing machines in the middle of the store were different from Joann's. So I started watching these sewing machines. Now, mind you, I'm an uber geek. You guys know that I do IT all the time. So I'm watching these sewing machines and they're computerized, and there's like software that goes with them, and there's programs that go with them, and all this other stuff. And I decided that I needed to spend $5,000 on an embroidery machine, even though I had never sewn before. So the very first thing that I dabbled in was machine embroidery. Wasn't sewing anything together. I was doing machine embroidery on baseball caps, on shirts, on sweatshirts. I was monogramming towels. I was anything that was already created, I was doing embroidery on. Well, on top of that, I read all of the software manuals, which apparently no one else has ever done in the entire world. So they thought I was a guru on embroidery software. So they asked me to start teaching. So I was teaching embroidery software and digitizing. And then I started branching out and discovering that I had run out of things to embroider on. When I started stealing underwear out of my boys' drawer to embroider their names, they're like, "Ma, you need to find something else to do." Okay. They were little. So I walked back into the store and I saw this little 9-patch quilt that was like hanging on the wall, and I was like, "Okay, I'm going to do that." And I looked at it and I was like, "Okay, this can't be that hard." And I bought a bunch of fabric, and it wasn't it was kind of figure it out as you go in a way. And then that was an absolute disaster. And my seams were wrong and my points weren't working and all this other stuff. And it was terrible. And then got out on the internet and I found the end of the internet 14 times until I learned every single method. And then I started teaching quilting. So I was teaching quilting, I was teaching basic quilting, I was teaching advanced quilting, I was teaching machine embroidery, I was teaching embroidery software. Um, it was my whole life. Everything, everybody knew me as Quilter Jan. So that expanded down the road. I didn't teach as much because I got busy with other things. And then I ran into a vintage sewing machine on the floor in a thrift mall, and I opened it up and I thought it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen with all the gold decals on it and everything else. And I was like, I want to sew with that. So
She
I bought it.
was
I bought it for 20
mesmerized.
bucks and I let it sit around my house, and I kept moving it like to different prominent spots. And I was just looking at it and I was like, it's so pretty. It was so rusted. Nothing turned, nothing. So then finally one day I started, well, maybe I can get this thing to turn. And then I started spraying PB Blaster on it and screwing around with metal, and the rest is history. Now I take them completely apart, refurbish them, bring the chrome back to shiny, rewire the motors, and I adopt them out. And people love them forever and ever.
They're addictive. They're
Yeah.
very addictive.
Yeah.
I
I
got
have
to
I
sleep
have
in the
probably
basement
a
next
100.
to all of the cabinets while I was there.
Mhm. Yep, the
It was
cabinets got
very,
moved into the basement when we turned the my shop into a shipping center. So, I don't know if I'll get back to those, that those might end up I might just, as is, adopt them out. We'll see, but that's what I loved. I loved quilting, I loved the quilting world, I loved my quilting friends, quilting retreats 3, 4 times a year, and flipping the vintage sewing machines, that was my extra income. So I was making good money off of it. I would pick up vintage sewing machines for 20 bucks at estate sales or on Craigslist or whatever, and I would spend the time refurbishing them by myself in my shop, and then I would sell them for like 300 something dollars, and those would turn into table sales and additional sales and teaching, and that was my world.
Elizabeth is saying that she has two old singers pre-motors, but neither works.
Yep. Those are the
You
treadle
have,
machines.
yep, and certain ones are worth money to pick up and certain ones aren't, and you get to know them if that's something that you were raised around or
Yes.
something that Jan does um did and learned and got sucked into. So we all have our thing
Yep.
that we really love. Uh-oh, we're getting it. We're
And
getting it.
before I got into quilting, I did crochet, cross stitch, plastic canvas. I tried knitting. I did embroidery. I did crewel. I dabbled in everything. I learned it, and then if I loved it, I would do a project, and if I didn't love it, I would move on to something else.
So
Jan, a
Greg
quick
is
question
asking.
about the machine you mentioned. I know that Cricut machines cartridges get linked to their machine and can't be used by other people. Is there anything I should know if I come across a used computerized machine as far as that goes? Can it just transfer between people with no issues? Well, that's a loaded question. Now, the Cricut machine is separate from the Cricut software. Same with embroidery machines. Embroidery machines are separate from the embroidery software. Now, you can do a lot just on the machines themselves. Usually, with anything, embroidery machines, Cricut machines, their warranties are not transferable, but that's normal. I mean, most people they just don't bother with it. The Cricut software is like way involved, and I don't know if there's a licensing. I actually don't have a Cricut. Cricut came around, it became the craze around the time where my mom passed away. So that's all pretty, but I do have two or three friends that are deep into their Cricut machines. You know who's a
Yeah,
good person to ask about the Cricut? Adam Hartman. He has one, and he actually does, wine glasses and cups and special orders and stuff like that. He might be a good one to ask about the Cricut machine.
also, I believe that um, Mrs. Froggy Flips, which would be Anthony's wife,
Mhm.
does a lot of that stuff with the Cricut too. So,
Yeah.
so and
I
and
think we could
they
do
are both
I think that Noelle could find somebody that is, like, hardcore into the Cricut and probably could do a whole show on the Cricut.
probably,
Yep,
probably.
and I would assume that all of the pieces parts of a Cricut right now are huge bolos because 'cause they're pricey.
Yes, they are very pricey. But I'll tell you what, anytime I see one at an estate sale or I see the cartridges or anything like that, I nab those suckers up because they're worth some good money.
Yeah.
Um, so my friend
Mhm.
Amy Lou here, and she does, I know this, she has over a dozen 60s and older machines, including two treadles and a 1921 Singer that was converted in the 50s. And she believes that when it comes to sewing machines, the older they are, the better they are.
Not true, unfortunately. So the truth of the matter is there's three different kinds of older vintage sewing machines. If you're looking to make money, do not buy a treadle sewing machine. You're not going to sell it. You're not it's even if you restore it, back and do everything that I do, the only treadle machines that I do now are when people used to do were when people bring them to me because they have emotional attachment to them and they want them brought back. The old treadle machines and the older the sewing machine, the bobbin changes. So on the 1920s machines, they have what's called a shuttle bobbin or a bullet bobbin. And the bobbin actually looks like a barbell and it goes inside of, I don't have one up here.
I'll see if I can pull up a picture.
Yeah. So they go inside of there and then the thread goes through the little tension thing and it holds like no thread. So it, people ran out of thread very, very quickly on those machines. Um, the other difference is a belt driven machine compared to a gear driven machine. Now, the most sought after ones that go for really good money, they're called a featherweight, and the model number is a 221 or a 222. Now, those are belt driven machines and they're sought after because they're cute and they're easy to carry and they do a beautiful single stitch. Yeah, that's the bullet bobbin, shuttle bobbin. So that's in most of the really, really old treadle machines. And the thread runs out fast, really fast.
And then there's the other one. Is that
Yep.
showing?
So then they changed to a vertical bobbin that was a round bobbin, and that came around it was about the 1930s where that bobbin came in. It held more thread, and the stitch doesn't change, and I can get into the details really, really hard, but it's not like reseller type stuff. But there's reasons that each machine is used for a different thing. So with the 1930s machines, you have mostly belt driven machines, and then they had industrial machines that came in after that that were gear driven. Now, the gear driven machines, metal gears, not nylon or plastic gears. You pick up a sewing machine and you open it up, or you look at the bottom and you see like a rough texture main gear under there, walk away from it. Don't buy it. You're not going to those gears crumble, especially after they've been stored for however many 20 years, 30 years in someone's basement or whatever the case may be. The machine's going to become, you can't use it. That is a beautiful machine.
Not letting me. Let me see if I can. I don't like the way that. Hang on a second, you guys. The way that StreamYard lets you share is not always conducive to. Oh, what the heck?
Mike, holy nerds. Yeah.
I know, no joke, right? I lost my picture. 1930s gear driven. Keep talking, Jan. I'll bring it back up.
Okay. I can't control the comments, so I'm trying to go back and see some of them. Cuz man, people are yipping.
Or is that one that I just had? That one.
Let's see.
Okay.
Wow, there's a lot of quilters in here. Hi,
All
Doug.
right.
Hi,
It did
Yvonne.
not. Which one did it open? Dang it. That's not the one I wanted it to open.
That's
Okay.
okay. That's the same machine.
It is. I had opened it up bigger into a bigger thing, but that's good enough. Hey Mike, hey Karen. Um so you know, sewing machines could be a whole nother show, honestly, to tell you guys the truth.
Well, here's the bolo when it comes to sewing machines. It's the Singer Featherweight, which is the cute little machine that only does straight stitching, and that's the Singer 221. And the real bolo is the Singer 222, which is the Singer Featherweight. It looks the same, but it has a free arm. If you see the one with a free arm, that's minimum $1,200. Super rare, super sought after. Definitely watch for those. And if you see them
Okay,
in a
so
picture at an estate sale, you want to get in line at 2 a.m. because it's going to go fast. Super
oh,
fast.
let's see if I gotta remove this one. And
Nancy Denny, I sew with all of them. I used to. I still do. It's like riding a bike.
yep. Um okay, here you go, guys. This is the 222 she was talking about.
Yep. So
And
look in the
this right,
middle. See
see
that
this?
free arm? Oh wow, they're even higher than 1,200.
This one is on Etsy right now.
They'll get that price.
Oh, they
If
will.
they
Look at
if they sit
they
long
came.
enough
And so my mom has like 6 of these.
of the free arm machines,
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yep,
Wow.
because my sister and I bought her at least two of them.
That's super rare for somebody to have. I mean, I have friends that have, almost 6 digits when it comes to the featherweight machines, but they're lucky if they have one 222.
Yep.
W- Would you say that weight is a good indication of value? Mm-mm.
No.
No. It's a
The
very
best.
unique market.
Come here.
Hi,
Come here.
Dren. I love your haircut, buddy.
I don't really like it.
I like it. It looks great. It'll grow.
Dren's not feeling too swell today, you guys. Let's see. Mike's saying hi. Greg is saying hi. Elizabeth is saying hi. Everybody hasn't gotten to see you for a while because Nanny hasn't really done too many shows. That's Amy. Who is Amy? Tina's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a touch of a cold or the flu or something. Yeah, my mom has the sock knitting machines. You are correct. My mom's got everything. If it has anything to do with needles, thread, yarn, any kind of any of that, he is my mom's got it and has done it. And it was funny because I couldn't find my bin that I have tatted pieces in. So I was talking to my mom last night and I go, "Do you have any pieces in your drawer in your cabinet?" And she goes, I don't know. She goes, "I have some. I'm not sure where they all are." So anyway, um, yes, Mike, your mom's son is a pain in the butt. I will agree with you on that. So anyway, so quilting, and then Jan knows all about this because my mom taught quilting for years. My mom judged textiles at all the fairs, local fairs around here, and it is a thing. And boy, the sun is really getting me from over there. Whoop, there we go. Whoop, there it is. So what it's once you get sucked in, there's no going back for quilting or
It's a
knitting or crocheting.
billion-dollar industry.
There is and I'm going to put it right here, Ravelry.com. If you think Etsy is a thing, you know nothing if you've not been to Ravelry. Anything that you could ever want that has anything to do with any kind of a textile, knitting, sewing, crocheting, macrame, you name it, you go to Ravelry. That's their spot. I could sign in with my sister's password because I still think I remember it.
Is
Unless
that a
she
place to
changed it,
sell, Noel?
but huh?
Is that a place to sell?
Yes, you can sell on there. People sell yarn.
Never
Yeah.
heard of it.
Well, let's see. Let me just pull it up on let me go over here and pull it up and I'll share it with you guys if it'll let me. Um I need to go. I don't want that. I don't want that. I'm gonna have to go out of there. It's always something. I'll probably just because I don't want to. I haven't signed in for a long time. Ravel, because I can spell it. That's right.
That's so true, Brett. And one thing that people don't realize about quilting is that women and men, there are lots of
There's
male quilters,
so
lots of
many.
male quilters. Um, it is a very I tried to explain this one day. I think I was talking to Julie Smurf and I was talking about how with my brain when I'm going through difficult thoughts and I'm trying to process things, my hands need to be busy. And I think that's true for a lot of people. And that's where like quilting bees started. When women would sit around and they would all hand quilt or they would all, work on basting a quilt together or something along those lines, their hands are busy. So just enough of your brain is busy to drop your vulnerability to be able to just spill your thoughts. So women and men have bonded over quilting and handcrafts because of that. Now, there are times where I've gone to a retreat and we'll end up Saturday night, nobody's quilting. Everybody's hugging, everybody's crying because some sort of release came just through chatting while everybody's sewing and things like that. So, quilts, when you try to put value on them, it's very difficult because there's stories in those quilts. There's
Yep.
tears in those quilts. There's laughter in those quilts. There's so many, there's legacies in those quilts. And that's what can make it difficult. So sometimes it's really sad to see some of the quilts that go for really cheap money on eBay and other sites. And I mean, I even sold a couple of quilts that were at my new house recently for super cheap. And I know exactly how long they took to make, but it's you're either an art connoisseur and you appreciate art, or you just want to quilt.
So Brett, that's good. That is perfect. And Brett is going to lead us right in to the next one. Really old ones. Didn't they sometimes sew baby hair locks and things into them? Yes.
Yep.
There's dead body, Mike. There's dead bodies in them quilts. I'm out.
There's definitely flakes of your skin. Whoever created the quilt, their scent is all over it. I mean, I'm sure that my hair is in somewhere in every single quilt I've ever made, or an eyelash or whatever the case may be. And that's
Well,
why
and
animals
then you sleep in them, so
and
it's
that's why
it's there.
animals are so drawn to handmade quilts because they have a person's scent in them.
This is absolutely never going to happen ever,
Nope.
ever, 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 and affinity and beyond ever.
Nope. It is a
Memory quilts.
billion
Let's talk about
dollar
let's talk about a
industry.
memory quilt. Nobody say anything about what I may or may not have on today. I do have real clothes.
Are you wearing
Many of
pants?
you who many of you who know me know I had cancer in 2011, 2012, and my mother decided to be my chemo partner. And the night before I went in for my first chemo, she finished this quilt for me. So this was my chemo quilt, and it is basically what you would call a lap quilt. And a lot of people it has been well loved. If she saw this right now, she'd probably spank me because I need to resew the thing on it. But purple is my favorite color. It's a very light lavender. I don't even know what's the pattern. Stars.
That is no, they're not stars. It's actually
I'm
called
looking at it from the
Snail's
back.
Trail. It's called Snail's Trail, but it's a variation of Snail's Trail.
And something that I would recommend highly, even if it's a quilt that isn't modern, a quilt is only as old as the newest fabric that's used on it.
True story.
Um,
However, they could be patches. So
True.
someone asked earlier how to repair a vintage quilt. You repair it with an applique patch.
Here is what my mother does on all of her quilts.
A label.
So December of 2011. Well, that's not true. Well, maybe it might be. Maybe it was my second chemo that she did it because nobody went with me on my first one. So, and you can do this if you have a provenance or history that comes with a quilt. Like sometimes they'll get passed down, and a grandmother or whatever will have written about it. And you can take that and you can print it out onto a piece of muslin, and then you can take these pins. And this is just a simple blanket stitch that my mom did to put this on. Every quilt she's ever made to give out, pretty much, she has done that on. And you can also do that on another quilt. This quilt that I have behind me, and I have 6, I think, that are from the early 1900s. One of them is actually dated. You can just barely see it. They were, don't be kind, they were given to me last summer from my brother's um, employee, who is actually, I graduated with his uncle, and his dad is a year younger than me, but his grandmother, he bought his grandparents' place, and his grandmother gave me just carloads of stuff, and in that carloads of stuff was six vintage quilts, and they were from her family. Nobody wanted them, and she said, Noelle, I know that you will appreciate these and find them good homes. Well, I have appreciated them. I don't know if I want to find them good homes. I would give them to my mom to fix, but I don't think I'd ever see them again. And so they will eventually go for sale, but I won't let them go for cheap. I just absolutely, I'll sit. They can sit in my store, and I'll enjoy them in my home while they're getting ready to sell. But this one behind me, I'm going to move, and I'm going to bring it closer so that Jan can tell you a little bit about it. This one is, I believe it's flour sack and other applique patch. I meant to say, yeah, and other kind of stuff. But hi, Anne. I didn't see you come in, or maybe I did. But
Nancy, to answer your question, an applique patch, like if you look at the quilt that Noelle is showing right now, that's a whole bunch of 9 patches. So let's say that one of the 9 patches tore out, where
there's some
especially if
damage to this one. I'll show you.
if they're hand quilted, a lot of people that hand quilt, they don't do their stitches very close together like a machine would, so they're spaced out more. So if the thread gets nipped or caught, it breaks, then the patch will come apart. So that's a prime example right there. So that one there was a material that it wasn't cotton, and it just
Yep.
fell apart.
It's
So if I
cotton.
were going to fix that, I would
This is
find
cotton.
I would find fabric from around that time period, and I would measure that square, and I would cut that square a 1/4 inch wider, and then I would fold under the 1/4 inch, and I would temporarily fuse it on, and I would applique that square over the top of the ripped square, is how I would fix it. Because once it's tied or quilted, you can't take it apart.
Right.
You can't get in there to sew it back together. So the only way to repair that block would be to applique a square on top of it. You make the square. It's not something that you buy.
And yeah, I mean, okay, so this is another one. This is obviously hand tied. So, and
Hmm.
people did a lot of hand tied because it was a quicker way to get a blanket out faster. I love, I simply love the material that they used for the back of this. And they also used small pieces of it in the quilt itself.
Hmm.
So, there's many ways you could go about this. I mean, you want to use you could take pieces off of the back, you could take it apart. There's so many ways, but what Jan said, how she was talking about repairing the patches, and this quilt right here needs a lot of repair. So somebody is going to somebody like one of you who don't know a lot about quilts, which means absolutely nothing, certainly easy enough that if you are on YouTube, which you are because you're with us, then you know that there are millions and millions of different videos out there and you can watch. So it's super easy to sit down and watch some of those and learn. Don't walk by an older quilt, and say on while you're doing your YouTube video, I just don't know enough about it, when you have this in your hand. It's silly. A lot of times people don't know what they have or they don't care. They're just so in a frenzy to empty out what they're doing that it just goes they just go, And another thing that hi Auntie Christy. Another thing I would really like to say is never, ever, ever put an old vintage quilt in your washing machine, especially if it's got damage. So
I've done it.
I'm sure you have.
Just saying.
I'm sure you have. If you can't
Only because I
sew
know
or
how to fix
anything,
it.
if you can't, Brett, you don't need to have to sew to be able to pick it up and either keep it for yourself. There are people out there that will fix it for you. Yeah, and you can find them on YouTube and you can find them in the description of this channel. I actually have a video that talks about a gal who has a quilting business and she is showing you how she is repairing a quilt for a client. So
you can also take damaged quilts and repurpose them.
Yes.
You could take a quilt that, say it's got a stain that will never come out, or it's got a great big tear or a rip or whatever the case may be. Take the good part of the quilt, stitch it down a couple of rows of stitching, and then you can cut on that line of stitching, and then you could turn it into a tote bag. You could turn it into a pillow. You could turn it into a lap quilt.
A table runner.
Yep.
Pot holders.
You could frame them.
So this quilt, and I don't know how close that sun is really used to be a big problem when we were kids and we wanted to watch TV. I've never really paid too much attention.
You don't have blinds on there?
On what?
On wherever the sun's coming in.
No, it's just a sheer curtain.
Oh.
So this quilt has a little bit of damage, nothing like the quilt I just showed you. And it's also hand tied. This, I believe, may have flour sacks in it, and I had showed Jan some of these before. It's been a while, but I think, let's see if I can get the camera a little bit better.
I don't think all of those are feed sack fabrics.
No, I don't think they are either.
They're too colorful.
These ones right here, maybe.
The red and white one with the little red and the two color ones, those might be. Those are probably more 1940s fabrics.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
So
that quilt, if people look at that particular quilt, let's say you walk by one of these in a thrift mall, what she means by tying, so a quilt is 3 layers. You've got the back, you've got the batting, and then you've got the top. The top of the quilt is where people make the pieces. They put the pieces together that form the pattern. So this quilt, when it was put together, the batting was put on the table, and then the top was put on top of the batting, and then the back was put upside down, and they sewed it together in one big square, and then they left an opening, and they turned the quilt inside out. You'll see that there's no binding on the quilt, and I'll explain that when she shows a binding. But this, they call it like a pillow turn, basically, is what that is. So instead of doing quilting stitches all through the quilt, they used to just tie them because they were utilitarian. They would use anything that was available, old clothes, old,
they saved string. They saved everything back then.
Yep.
And they would actually take flour sacks or shirts or whatever, and they would make a string holder, and they would stuff their pieces of string, and they used them. So this looks like it's some form of a yarn.
Yep. So then they would put them through, and they would space them. They would try to space them as close as they could, but they used them very sparingly. But the layers are being held together just with those little ties, and they would poke them through with a tapestry needle, and then they would tie them, and that's all the quilting that would be done. So A
And
quilt
you can
that's
see
tied would
on this
never be
one,
hung on a wall. A
nope,
quilt that's tied would always be draped over a chair or draped over a couch or literally
on the
utilitarian.
bed.
So they would have these big chests at the end of their bed and they would make all of these quilts and they would just keep making all of these quilts. And then the colder it got, the more quilts that they would lie on top of each other. Now they couldn't get very many fabrics, so they used the old clothes when they were done. And then they started creating the flour distribution people, not flour like flour, not like that, like sniff of flour, flour like baking flour and feed for their animals. They started making them out of cotton and started putting patterns on the bags. So then the women would encourage the farmers to go to those particular flour mills and those particular feed places because they wanted the fabrics on the sacks. So when you see somebody saying flour sacks, that is very old and very rare and very valuable when it comes to the fabric. And they held up pretty good too. Cedar
I
hope chest.
actually
Yep.
have a dress from the 1920s.
Yep.
Um,
Flour or feed. I have a 1920s quilt right here. And this one is I mean this thing was completely utilitarian. It's beat to all hell, you know. All these different pieces, it had been thrown around, it had been put on horses, and this is all feed sack fabric. But I mean this thing is mutilated. It's and you just keep loving it and loving it and loving it until it's no longer a full piece. And these are all flour sack fabrics.
and you cannot understand unless you have made a quilt or been given a brand new made for you quilt, and I'm not talking about one from the store, how soft that quilt in her hands is and how soft this is it compared
Mm-hmm.
to a brand new one. It takes years to break them in and have them soft.
Well, they come with a lot. The fabrics come with a lot of stabilizer in them now, which
Yep.
is why if you are a quilter, you should wash your fabrics before you use them.
I don't care if you're a quilter or not. I wash I always
But
wash all
here's
my
an
I wash it and
example.
iron it.
If you can see this square was once a star. You see the little pieces that are missing? Like this piece
Yep.
right here is missing.
Yep.
So if you are a quilter now and you're making heirloom quilts for your grandbabies and your children and everything else, consider the quality of the materials that you use because after time, really bad quality stuff disintegrates and it vanishes and then it just becomes this rag thing that people don't know what to do with. So if
It's
you are
true.
a quilter, spend the money on good quality cotton.
Yes. And you can have uh I was trying to find just gonna share this real quick in case you guys oops, I guess I need to do this first because it just doesn't cooperate. Um Add to stream. All right. Here are some flour sacks. And you know, these pieces right here, they aren't that old. This is from like maybe in the 70s. The flour sacks that we're talking about are like this one, this feed sack right here. Everybody's probably most everybody has probably seen something similar to this, and that's how they were for a long time, and you still see them like this. But these these prints right here, when Jan was saying that the mills and stuff started making flour sacks with prints on them, and that's where you would see these muted colored ones. And when we would go to the feed store and stuff like that, um, we'd always try to get the same ones made out of the same fabric, because if you had four, five, six of them out of the same fabric, then Here's a vintage flower sack hand pieced quilt. Those are some pretty bright colors. But anyway, so that gives you an
A
idea.
lot of people, they don't know necessarily, some of these descriptions, everything on the internet, popular to popular belief, is not necessarily true. Lots of people list those those quilts and those flower sacks, and they're not vintage flower sacks. They're
No.
1920s reproduction fabrics.
Yep, and you'll see them now still and there's a fly here. I don't know. The last time I sat here, there was a fly. It's driving me nuts. You'll see them now still. You'll see them at Trader Joe's. You'll see them at all of the.
You see them at
pardon my
Quilt. You
French.
can buy 1920s and 1930s reproduction fabrics. You can also buy
Yep.
reproduction Civil War fabrics.
Yep.
So that's when it
Absolutely.
comes to, you have to know, well, you don't have to, but if it's something that you're going to be interested in collecting or reselling, you want to take the time to learn the methods of making it. That will
Yes.
help identify the fabric.
Absolutely. 100%. And in I can't remember which video, but above it, I wrote there are some really good links in this one video, and they are links to 2 books. And one is How to Identify Vintage Fabrics, and I can't remember what the other one is, but you'll
Hi,
see it.
Miss Lana.
Is Lana in here?
Lana's here.
Hello.
Lana's a quilter too.
Yes, she is. So, there's always a resource out there, and throughout these shows that I do, I almost always have somebody on with me that knows. I like to try to find somebody that knows more than me. And I know a lot about a lot of things. I know enough to be dangerous about a lot of things, but I also know enough to know who the people are I want to have on to talk to you guys, and never, ever feel like you can't reach out to us to ask us questions. Both Jan and I are on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
You can always leave a message in the comments after the video, and if it's for Jan, I will make sure she gets it, or if it's for another guest that I have on, I'll always make sure to link you guys up. So and all of her information, her link to her store or her channel is also in the description, so you
there's
can go
nothing in
on.
my store right now.
Well, we're working on that.
So
We're working on
Katie,
it.
my mother was not a quilter. That was something that I got into on my own later on. Now, my mother was fascinated with the fact that I got into quilting, and it was after my grandfather had passed away. My grandfather was a mechanical engineer, and my mom just constantly thought that with the way that all the quilts went together and the different pieces and stuff like that, that my grandfather would have been really impressed with it. So she loved it, and she helped herself to my design wall often and pulled things off of it and changed colors, and she'd love to play with things up on the design wall, but when it came down to it, I would usually make it however I wanted to make it.
Speaking of that and the design wall, down below in the description, there is a video link to Jim Shore, who most of you guys know who Jim Shore is because you know about his collectibles that he makes. And he has a collection, I think he said, of over 170 quilts, vintage and antique quilts that he uses as the designs from and the colors in his creations. So I linked that video is down below for any of you. I think it's like 9 minutes. It's very interesting to go and watch. So, that kind of plays in with that.
I think the other thing that people should understand is it's not only vintage quilts that are valuable.
Oh no.
Quilts that were made last year are valuable. It's
Yes.
not all about vintage. It's
Mm-mm.
about quality. It's about method. It's about the
Artistic
points, and
style
yes.
and the fabrics
Yep.
and the time, and and not everybody does all their quilts machine stitched anymore either. still either. I mean, a lot of people do. My mom has a long arm quilter. I don't know if she even still knows how to use it because she's been doing knitting socks on her vintage sock. You know, she goes from one thing to another.
Mm-hmm.
And but you know, it's just one of those things. And a lot of people will do their quilts, they piece them together and they do everything, and then they take their quilt to somebody who has a long arm quilter and they
Yep.
will pay them to have the design quilted onto them.
Yep. One of my very good friends, she has a long arm business, and a lot of her quilts have won best of show, first place, blue ribbons, not just at like a county fair, but like tri-state national shows. And it's
Yes.
big money. It's a That's why quilting will never ever go away. It won't ever go away. They keep coming up with new contraptions and new, ergonomically correct rotary cutters, and
Oh,
it's every time I go to any kind of quilt show, man, I spend a kidney. It's not even
oh,
funny on how much stuff we
no,
get.
it's true, you know. And i'm gonna I'm gonna show this here, and the prices are literally just killing me. This is just a wall hanging.
Now click
um
on that, Noelle.
if I click on it, I don't know if it'll open for you guys. Okay.
Okay. So now this quilt, in my opinion, $35 is reasonable for this quilt. And let me tell
Yep,
you
I
why.
will agree
It
with
is
you.
a panel. The whole thing is one piece of printed fabric. And it looks like all they did was a binding on the edges, and they might have sandwiched it together and maybe did a little bit of stitching. I don't even see any stitching on it.
Nope, they didn't even
So
tie
all
it
they
or
did
anything.
was sandwich it together. So that panel of fabric cost them anywhere between $8 and $15 for that piece of fabric.
About the same
And
for
then
the
the
back.
batting in the middle, and then the back in no time at all. I could knock out a quilt like that in 8 minutes.
Yep.
That is
Handmade, hand
beast.
stitched, vintage, abstract. 225. I'm having a hard time with that price
I'm
myself.
comfortable with 225.
But that's, you know, let's see what we
Now, an
got here.
insurance appraisal is totally different from what
Yes.
they're asking for here. So the quilt that I finished in honor of Vicky, after Vicky passed away, I had that one appraised, and
Which
I
one
made
is
it.
that in your house?
That's the big starburst fall looking one.
On
So I think
the
I showed it on your show.
I think you did. It's
Yeah,
hanging on the wall
that one
downstairs, isn't it?
was appraised for $4,200. And it's not vintage.
Nope. I was looking to see if there's something exciting here that's not. Uh,
Did you sort by price? That's how you'll find the exciting
oh
stuff.
yeah, duh.
Just a suggestion.
You know, I'm telling you, cause you know, why wouldn't I? Oh, I might. Let's just do this best match, and then let's go into the solds.
How long did it take to make the one that Noelle just showed us? Well, it depends on the quilter. So, a quilt like that, I could end up making it and not even realizing how long it took me to make. So, a lot of quilters that are really, really deep into quilting and have like, I don't know, 30 different quilts going at a time, which is normal. That's
Normal.
that's not excessive. That is totally
It's no.
normal. Um they do what's called leader ender projects, and a lot of scrap quilts like that, they're usually created out of leader ender projects.
Yep.
So they'll take a whole bunch of strips of fabric, and they'll cut them up into triangles or whatever the case may be. And when you go to sew something, so that the needle doesn't go down into the machine after you're done with that piece, so it doesn't knot down in the machine, a lot of people will run another piece underneath before they cut the thread. And a lot of people have learned, rather than using one strap of fabric and putting 200 lines of thread on it and then throwing it out, they figured out, hey, I can use that little piece of thread to work on a second quilt. So they have what's called leader ender projects, where they're putting multiple things together. So the one that she showed before, even though it looked like it had a 3-dimensional star in it, it was actually only half square triangles. It was just the way that it was laid out with the colors made it look like it was dimensional. So it's somebody did leader enders, half square triangles, ran it under their machine while they were working on another quilt, and one day the basket was full, and then they started putting them together as they were working on another quilt, and then the basket was full again, and they started putting them together, and all of a sudden they had a whole quilt.
Yep.
Out of scraps and garbage thread. So in their mind, $225 is great.
Hi, buddy.
I think I can eat mac and cheese if I can eat chicken.
That's
All right,
beautiful.
we'll
That's
try it.
hand embroidery on there.
Yes, this is hand embroidery. And the reason I want to show you guys this is all of this little, you're not seeing, look at all of these little squares that look like quilting, which they are.
Okay,
This
so
was
you
all
got
done
you
on
got a
a
lot
machine.
of different techniques going on in that quilt.
On the white part was more than likely done on a long arm quilter.
Nope.
You don't think so? No, you
Nope.
know what?
That is hand quilted.
Yes, you are correct. Let's get up here a little. And this is tiny, you guys. It's a wall hanging. It's 29 by 29. Okay, yes. Can you see the stitches in there?
It's not me.
It's my other son in LA. Can you see the stitches in there? How they're pretty consistent. I have to say they didn't. I personally think for all the work that was put into this, even as tiny as it is, what did that go for? 275. That's a lot of work.
How big is it?
29 by 29. It's tiny. It's a wall hanging.
Yeah. So it's got a lot of different things. So I would think that this piece was probably somebody's practice piece. So they tried a couple of different things here. They did in the interlocking pieces of the quilting. It looks like they colored with crayon onto that fabric. It's not actually a separate fabric. So they tried painting on fabric with this. They also tried thread play with it. They tried hand quilting with it. They tried hand embroidery. They did a lot of different things. And
They
see,
did. If you
that's
look
colored.
at if you look at this purple flower, I think they did. It's ribbon embroidery. That's what it looks like.
There's some ribbon embroidery in there, but they actually painted it, either with a crayon or a pencil.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you there. Absolutely. Anyway, all right. Enough playing around on the internet, on the interwebs. All right. I am going to show you the other small glass beads in it, probably either glass or plastic, but yes, those, and that was in the ribbon embroidery.
It was probably a challenge for a quilt show.
It could very well have been. You could be right. All right,
Yep.
let's look at a couple of these other quilts I have here now that the sun is no longer in. It's my listing area back here. All right, we already pretty much looked at this one, so I gotta find a place to land these without killing something. This may be my favorite one. This is hand stitched. Before I hold it way up, I'm just going to show you the back of it because it is green and they used white thread. You can really see it.
Yep.
I love this. This was made out of many, many, many pieces. It's almost makes me wonder if it was Amish made because they were there is some feed sacks in here too. This is probably my favorite of all of these.
So that pattern is called Double Wedding Ring.
And it is actually in the best condition. Now, it has, that I know of, it only has 2 minor flaws. Let's see. Are you seeing that?
I see the tear. Yep.
Right there.
Yep.
So luckily though,
They used a lot of different scraps.
this tore right on the seam.
Yep.
And if you are a good hand stitcher, that is not going to be too difficult to fix. But there are other spots that aren't. So
Elmer's glue is your
Oh,
friend when you try to
yes.
repair these quilts.
And so all of this was done by hand. This one is, I think, from the 1920s, I believe. And this is one of those things where if I really, really, really wanted to be 100% certain, I would research the fabric on here.
Yeah. Like you said earlier, Noelle, it's only as old as the newest fabric that's in the quilt.
And that is how the quilt world values quilts. So if I patch this with a new piece of fabric, then this quilt is no longer technically considered old.
It depends on the
just
buyer.
depends on how you want to argue it, even though
It depends on the buyer.
Yeah, I personally would never myself repair this with a new piece of fabric. I would probably salvage a piece off of another quilt that was of the same era that was maybe in worse condition, or find a piece of fabric on eBay or Etsy or Ravelry.
Now, see, I have to check out Ravelry. I've never been on Ravelry.
All right. 1, 2, 3. I love this quilt, and it is in the worst shape. On the back, thank God. But this could be, no, not on the back, on the front. This, let's see, let me hold it up. I love the colors in this quilt. And the
Pepto-Bismol color was very popular.
You can see the damage.
Yeah.
And then again, the damage here, same thing.
Yep.
This fabric that they used for this piece of fabric that they used right here was not as consistently thick and nice as the other stuff. And this one is also hand stitched, and it is also from the 20s.
I don't think so. Not with that border print.
I just know it is because
most
that's what I was
most
told.
of those fabrics are all from the 20s. So here's what happens often, Noelle. We have people, like, we'll have our monthly quilting meeting, and people will bring in old quilt blocks,
right,
that they found in their grandmother's estate or their great grandmother's estate, and then somebody will choose a setting. So the quilt blocks in this, I think, are from a different time period than the background fabric and that border fabric. So I'm going to say that those blocks are inherited, and then another quilter did the setting and made the quilt.
You could be 100% right. Anyway,
she unfortunately used really crappy fabric.
She did.
That border fabric.
You know what? This is funny, and I'll show you. This has been repaired. Let's see. There's a spot right there.
Yep.
There's actually quite a few.
Yeah.
So if I was going to, and if I keep any of these, it would probably be this one. I would probably dismantle this and I don't know. I would take this.
There's a lot of quilting on that, though. Look at the back of that.
There is.
That is beautiful.
something would be done to replace those borders, or I'll just use it on my bed as is, because you know what? I have an old vintage brass bed, and this thing is calling its name,
I
and
would
I
almost
don't
I would
care.
almost completely cut off that one border and just bind it
Could do that too. Absolutely.
because it's toast. No
It smells so
applique
good.
patch is gonna repair that.
Don't talk about my quilt like it's toast.
That fabric is toast. You
Okay.
get what you pay for.
It
People
was
use
free.
cheap quality stuff and it doesn't last.
Okay, here's the last one. Mind you, you guys, like I said, for those of you who came in late, all of these were given to me free this last summer. This one has on it, and I will find it, a date. This one
That
is
is a
actually 1900.
that one is a double Irish chain, is what that's called.
And it has got a few issues, but nothing like, you can see, if I hold, you can see from the center to the outside how it is faded. Let's see how close I can get. It is darker color wise
Mm-hmm.
on the outside of the quilt than it is in the
Both
center.
Rocky Mountain resale.
Greg, what'd you say?
A lot of people are asking about Amish quilts. What's the
Both.
why
Both
why are
because
they
they're
more
both.
desirable?
And it's not that they don't have, it's not so much a quality of material with them. It's the okay, I don't know if you can see,
I can see
shoot.
that that's wrecked.
It is, but I would never do anything with this because, and the part that she washed it after she showed them to me.
You still
This
have
is
Auntie
why I
Christy
say,
loving Jim Shore on the screen.
oh, sorry.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna put Auntie
Nope.
Christy. I have a tendency to do that. This was signed at some point in time. Not, oh, sorry. Let me get this in front of the camera.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Down below, you can see the OO with the period where that hole is right there.
Mm-hmm.
There was a 1-9 there
Hmm.
when I first got these.
So the hole happened after you got it?
No, when I first saw them before she gave them to me, she washed them all before she gave them to me.
Oh,
Yes.
I see. She
So
washed them all in something very harsh.
I don't know because they smell so good, but I also had them in a casket sized plastic container with some potpourri and a sock, because
Nice.
you don't want to put a dryer sheet in there. It's got chemicals on them. You don't want to spray anything when you're doing this stuff. You could put a mothball thing in there, but yuck. So I just took some potpourri and put it in a couple of socks. And so these, and I am really sensitive to smells. So this is a very light lavender that's actually it's actually lavender that I picked for one of my landscaping jobs, as a matter of fact.
So the Amish
Anyway.
quilts, some of the desirability from Amish quilts, first of all, they are some of them are machine made. Some of them are handmade, some of them are machine quilted, some of them are hand quilted. It depends on the Amish, but it's usually a color scheme, and it's almost become like a brand name to people. Oh, this is an
Yes.
Amish quilt.
Same with their wicker their bentwood
Yep.
furniture and their barns and their,
Yep. It's just
you know.
it's I don't know. People think Amish is cooler than, Betty Joe that spent 2 years making the quilt. I don't know. I think it's a lifestyle. It's reminiscent of how they live. That's where the desirability comes from. I think it's cool when they have solar power to run their machines and stuff like that.
Okay. There. Now you can see a few of all of them behind my fat
Mhm.
head. All right. It's like a, it's not a clown. No, Greg, you're the clown. But we love you anyway.
Poor Greg.
All right. So, any more questions on quilts before we leave this topic? Because Jan has a tomorrow's school day for her, and it's not for me.
Yeah, I'm okay for
Okay.
a little bit. I'm getting thirsty.
You're getting go get. You want to go get? Do you need to have a bio break and get some water?
Yeah, I'm gonna go get some water.
Okay. I'll see you in a minute.
Okay.
Or what do you got there? Lana's talking about treadle machines. What are you two talking about? Brett, looking it up now. I see a lot of Harlequin romance novels. I don't know the term applied to other. Oh, heavens. By the way, a while back when Jan was talking and I didn't want to interrupt her, my friend Amy Lou sent me a $5 super sticker. And I thanked her in the chat because I didn't want to interrupt Jan. And I hope you're still listening, Amy. I just wanted to thank her very much. That was my first super anything, I didn't even know that that I had that on. So because they told me, I don't know. I'm new at this, but Amy, thank you so very, very much. I appreciate you very much. Amy's daughter is a year older than Dren, and they are buddies. So what we are going to talk about next is tatting. Unfortunately, I don't have any. I think Jan said she might have a piece. I am not sure. I do have some tatting thread, and I do have the tatting shuttles. And all I can say is these aren't from my family. Um, thank you, Nancy. My mother tatted. My grandmother did not tat. She did embroidery. She did crochet lace, and she did knitting, and she did sewing. But my mom told me, I was talking to her last night, and she said that she learned tatting from a neighbor lady, and she first learned needle tatting, which is tatting thread different than crochet. Tatting thread is similar to crochet thread, and depending on what you're tatting and how delicate it could be crochet thread that you're using. This is what is it? It should tell you on there what size it is. See how tiny this is? Like that's my hand. Tatting crochet 125 yards. This is an old one. This is also, what does that say in there? This one just says the color and whatnot. This is also, oh, it has it on the other end, which I can't see because, let's see if I can, this also is the same. So tatting shuttles come in many different shapes and sizes. This tatting shuttle is more thread, less knots, it says on it. Made in the USA. The light is getting me. ROEBOYE Needle Company in Chicago. This is a metal one. And you'll see that it has a bobbin in it. Not all of them have bobbins in it. This bobbin, you could you would wind your stuff on it, and it just slides in. You pull this up like this, and you push your bobbin out or in. And so, let me just tell you something. When you go in, for those of you that source like I do to sell, I love seeing an estate sale that has knitting and that has a sewing room. A sewing room, I'm there. I am there. This box, just like this, was sitting on the last day of an estate sale. And I was like, that's pretty darn cool. It has this separate your needles. It's got your needles on it. These are knitting needles in the round. That's why it had some pieces from, here's another set of knitting needles, and I'm just kind of digging through it, more knitting needles. Sensational sweaters, Coates and Clark book. Heck yeah, man. And more knitting needles. And I'm like, what? Score, 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 score. 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like there was a yellow one in here. Tatting shuttles. Now this tatting shuttle right here does not have a removable bobbin in it. This tatting shuttle, you will take your thread and you will wind it until it is full. Now, not all tatting shuttles are you going to do this with. They started on I don't know. They started doing something on this. I don't know how well that is going to. But tatting is basically just the art of making knots. If you go down into the description of the video, I linked some videos on how to learn how to tat. This box was just right here is a crochet crochet hook, and you get these little tiny ones where you're doing finer work because they're not necessarily, I was looking to see how much of a bigger one was in here. Different sizes, and they will all have a size on them. This is also made by Boyle, who made those shuttles, the tatting shuttles. You will also have this for this yarn's quite a bit bigger to be used for tatting. And there are a whole bunch of these cards, and so that you can, they are also made by by Boye, boy. I buy the cheapest needles I can get that'll do the job. You can't use a sewing machine to do those bobbins. I bet you probably could. Why couldn't you? If it's got a bobbin like that, you could absolutely load it with a here's some Dritz nylon elastic thread. This box was just full of all kinds of good things. So I don't know where it says the size. This is a size 7. This is a size 7 crochet hook, which could also be used for tatting. People will use these for needle tatting, and it's actually, see how tiny this is compared to, let's see if I can get these up. Do you see the difference? See how tiny those are? And they get bigger. I have more. Did I bring more of the, or all of these just knitting needles? That's all just knitting needles. Yeah, that's all just knitting needles. So here's the nice thing about crochet. It's a hook and a piece of thread, and anybody that has ever, I haven't crocheted in years, but basically, if you've ever finger crocheted at school, I don't even know if I can make anything with this, because like I said, I haven't crocheted in years, and probably I cannot, and I'm not going to attempt it here because it's just not the smart thing to do, and we know that's how it is. Depends on what you're shopping for. I hate double pointed needles. My own personal opinion. I absolutely will not knit with these. because anything that you do with these can be done with a circular set and knitting in the round, and then you're not pulling constantly using 3 or 4 needles unless you're doing cable stitch or something like that. Then you need to have the straight needles. But that's just me personally. So oh, hey, here we go. Perfect. I did not see this earlier. Here is, let me get all these lovely things put back into this box, which is also vintage, because you can't beat that. They started a project. Let's see if I can get it off of here. I need to go the other way. These are just, I urge you guys to go watch some of the videos I put in. You will be amazed. Look at how delicate this is. Now they did tatting. Those are all knots, you guys. Every single wrap around that, they have specific names for each one of these loops in here. You got it, Iris. I have bins and bins and bins of knitting needles. So this is made by the Boy Company as well. So there you go. They tatted these, and you could tell whoever was doing this was learning, and you can tell by the difference in the size. You would literally hold this piece like this, and as you're making your knots, and there's a specific way you hold the thread in your hands and all of that. I'm going to learn how to do this. I'm going to teach myself how to do this, because I think this is something that would be great therapy for me.
Do you have a shuttle?
I have a bunch of shuttles.
Oh, nice.
I found this box at an estate sale, and it has I was like, shuttle. There's 2 more in here somewhere, and not only that, but thread. But you can use, you guys, I hope I left the one video on there. I might not have. I'll go back and put it on there. There's a gal that showed how she uses larger sizes of thread, embroidery thread and yarn. So the thing about tatting is knots, macrame is knots. Tatting and knots are very similar. I do not have any macrame to show you. I'm sorry. It's in my storage unit. I didn't get there today.
Ask the Google.
Videos there. Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks, friend.
You're welcome.
Duh. Again. Oh, that's hilarious. What you guys are going to see mostly in macrame, if you guys don't know this, is hot right now. Macrame curtain panel, macrame tapestry, a macrame woven wall hanging. These things right here, $9.87. They didn't even pay for their materials there. Here's an owl. All of these little things, you can buy kits, and people will walk you through. Jan's going to do that one of these days with some jewelry stuff. I can hardly wait.
That's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm putting all my broken stuff away for that.
So are you keeping everything that you're looking at to yourself? Is it a big secret, or are you going to share?
Can you not see? Oh my gosh. Wow. All right. Macrame tapestry woven tassel chic. They got a pretty good price on this. I feel, because when you learn how to do macrame, you learn how to rip out a lot more than you learn how. And if you sew and you knit and you crochet and you do not like to rip things out, then you probably don't want to do macrame. Because you will consistently be tearing things out. Now, let me find. vintage.
I'm personally not a big fan of macrame. But if there's anybody in here that is, I have a lot of beads and stuff for
Yep.
macrame.
These vintage. This isn't. Jan actually has some of these in her house and at her mom's house, and I was telling her,
Yep.
you got to sell those.
No
You got to
kidding.
sell those.
I got to sell
So,
everything.
I know you're gonna sell everything. Look at the bead on this vintage retro plant hanger lot, 1970s. Groovy, funky, macrame, boho, orange rare. This is cool. I'd buy this. Look at the beads on this, just for the beads. I wonder if they show it hanging up. West Germany, and they're only asked. Somebody better go buy this. The last time I saw something like this, I just about died. I don't know what Lissa and I were doing, and I went and bought it. It's real. Oh, here. Oh, they're. What are they doing? Are they teasing us here? Look at you guys. You do not have to have a white background. I repeat, you do not have to have a white background. I got to read the description on here because that vintage retro plat hanger lot, 1970s, 3 groovy funky 3. Condition as used, shipped with USPS, one of a kind. Check out. So you get the 2. You get the plant hanger, and you get that pot is cool. And
so what? That. Oh, that's what people are after.
Yeah,
not the macrame.
That piece right there, but she's only asking $30.
What are the sold prices for this stuff?
Okay, let's go look. Oh, yeah, because I did. My friend Vicky, if you guys know Vicky and Katie, Vicky goes by LV Pink Panther on. No, she doesn't. Yeah, LV Pink Peacock. She changed it on Instagram, and they have a show on Sundays at 3 p.m.
$190?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, I want to ask a question. Did I or did I not say that macrame was hot?
I heard.
Okay. Look at you guys.
You also told me that I was going to make $1,000 on Kirby vacuum cleaners. That didn't happen.
Yeah, well, you didn't list them on eBay either, did you?
True.
Okay, so don't make me feel like I wished I'd have slapped you before I left. She sold one that was floor to ceiling. Okay, here you guys. Here's cowrie shell. I can't see the chat. I'm really honestly not ignoring any of you guys and gals, but I know you also
an eye on it.
Have conversations. Cowrie shell, anything. If you see a jar of cowrie shell somewhere, or you see any of these planters, now this either would have had a planter in it, or it would have had a glass piece that was in here, or plexiglass that you would set a planter on. These cowrie shells have always been popular for some reason. Yeah, I am not one of the ones. I'm just going to tell you that.
I have a whole bunch of that at my mom's house, but they're necklaces.
Yes, and you can sell them, and a lot just like that. People will unstring them. They will put them. Look at, here you go, guys. This is cool. This reminds my brother learned how to macrame. He macramed a hammock.
So, Amy says that she had cowrie shells that were from World War II era.
I don't doubt that.
Wow.
See this?
Now see, that guy's cool for Halloween.
For Halloween or fall. And that's probably a piece of, let's see, macrame owl and plant hanger, jute rope wood boho decor, over 7 feet tall. So there's a planter down in here where you can put your plant.
Right where the cat can get it.
Well, I don't have that problem, but some of you do.
It must be for really high ceilings.
So you will find this stuff. I'll tell you what. So now this is perfect for going out of here. Owls are big. Mushrooms are big. Macrame is big. Anything that is the muted browns, orange, green, my farm girl scavenger orange, any of that. And then you have the wool rugs, hand hooked. There's
Latch
different
hook?
there's different, not latch hook.
Okay.
There are latch hook. I'm gonna talk about that too. But I bought, and I saw this. Okay, I saw this.
I just sold one.
I latch hook rug kits, man. If you guys can get
No,
those,
I
those
sold
are,
a wool
oh yeah,
hand the cat one.
the cat one. Yeah, absolutely. If you guys, I'm having a hard time. I really want to keep this. I don't keep hardly anything I get, and anybody that knows me knows that. Anything that I have pretty much is for sale. There's very few things that I have that in my china cabinet over here, almost everything in there is listed. Why? I loved it. I bought it. I'm getting to enjoy it while it gets ready to sell, and then it goes. So I bought this rug. I saw this thing in an estate sale ad, and I was like, I have to have that. That is so. I got there and they wanted $28 for it. It was the first day, and I was like, oh, I don't want to pay $28 because I'm cheap. I'm cheap as crap.
Alert!
However, what I also will do is I will buy a lot of stuff, and depending, this was the first day. This estate sale doesn't do any deals whatsoever on the first day, but I bought a bunch of stuff, and by the time I got, and I'm going to show you what else I bought with it, because it's also needlework, because this lady was into needlework like crazy. So let me show you this thing. I paid $28 for it. I'm going to list it for $160, and I'll sit on it. I won't have to sit on it for too long. I did show this. All right, this thing is big. It is 36. It's got to be, do I have a tape measure right here? Did I put it back over here? I just was doing some listing and I had my tape measure, but yeah, anyway. So I always do the little, this is a yard and this is a yard. So it's approximately 2 yards.
What
is
is
burlap.
that?
18 by 48. It's printed on the other side.
It's freaking mushrooms,
this,
man.
This is every color from the 70s that I hated. And I love now. Now you could leave it on that side. This is the back side. So whatever side, it needs some work done. It needs some repair done on it. I'm not going to do it. Isn't that gorgeous? And just so you know, because I left the price tag on it because I like to be mini pearl. Oh, I should have probably taken that part off. See if it'll still say it. Oh, it's going to rip that part off. Yep, $28. Can you see that? 28 buckaroos. It was worth every penny. That thing is I'm 5'5", and that's how big it is. So also at that estate sale, I gotta find a place to put things. I'm running out of room. I'll just do this.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy.
Apparently they made Oreo Pokemon.
They made Oreo Pokemon?
No, they just made the Oreo Pokemon pictures on them.
Okay, I got 1 box. 2 boxes. Full, you guys, full. 3 boxes. Because we're going to talk about this. What were we just talking about a minute ago? Plastic canvas. I suppose I could do this. plastic canvas. This is a tissue box because we all need one, right?
I made a Valentine's Day house and a Halloween house tissue
Did you?
boxes.
There's another one. I saw the plastic. Walked into her little sewing room and I about died. I totally forgot about the mushroom thingy that I went there for. And I walked into the sewing room and I was like, what? And I started pulling them out. And then underneath the table, there's 3 more boxes. And I'm just like loading them up. And I'm like, you guys, these are, what is this? Contains kit number 17. Why in the heck isn't it telling? This is for
Me too,
includes
Amy.
a full color painting on polyester. So what they did is you can see that it's printed on here, and then you take the batting and you put it on the back, and then you do the needlework, and it makes it look like it's all poofy. She had a bunch of them that she had done and framed. People love this stuff. So I paid $3 for some of these and $1 for another. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. One of the other things I wanted to, so that's one form, another form of needlework, and now we have cool. You see how that is?
Oh, wow. That's old.
So I can't even tell you.
You should have this stuff listed right now, Miss Noel.
I'm only one person.
That's my excuse.
I can't even, some of them come with frames. I mean, that's, and that, and little ones, and bigger ones.
Ooh, are the little ones dimensions?
No, these little ones are Kathy's, and aren't they cute? Look at the little birds.
They are cute.
I'll lot those two together.
Mm-hmm.
I have one dimension in here. I have 2 of the dimension gold ones listed, one for $189 and one for $159, I think.
Kits?
Yeah, brand new, not unopened.
Very nice.
Then you have these ones that come with the hoop embroidery. This actually has, what is this? This is not,
I haven't been in here for so long, I don't remember where stuff is.
Designed silkscreen on cotton, Persian wool yards, 9-inch wooden hoop, needle threader, glue, and instructions. So this would be similar to those pillows. I love this one. I'm probably going to do this one myself for my son because he loves sunflowers.
Aw, Elizabeth, congratulations. You broke your cherry.
What did Elizabeth do? Oh, listed Elizabeth. Yay.
Good girl.
I'm proud of you. Okay, here is counted cross stitch. Do you see the cloth here? It's a special kind of cloth. See how it's separated? This is a big one.
That's called Aida cloth.
Yep.
AIDA.
Find somebody that does this kind of stuff. I guarantee you. Oh, I mean, really need to get this listed. Maybe I may be doing this tomorrow. These are so easy to list, you guys. And here I am saying that, and you know.
Wow.
Just
you really hit a gold mine.
Yeah. And then for those of you that don't know, this did not come from the Meow House. This is Busilla, which is another great brand. This I will probably sell for probably close to $100. This is a latch hook rug or wall hanging. And they use the 17 by 34. They will come with a printed canvas, and this is the edge of the canvas. And what you would do is take a piece of tape, masking tape or painter's tape, and reinforce these edges because it falls apart really fast and really quick. And
Oh,
then
Julie Smurf loves it.
they come with this. These are your pieces of yarn. And I can't remember if this had a latch hook in it or not, but I have a bunch of them, so it didn't really matter. A latch, and look to see if they even have a picture of one. If you guys don't know what a latch, here it is. So a latch hook looks not like that. It almost looks like a crochet hook, but it has this little loopy on it that you loop the yarn through, and then it goes down into the canvas. I'm trying to figure out, and you pull it through. You pull it through, and each one of those little threads will have a knot in it, and that is how that is made. And these are great to find. They're great to do. They're great to have. Sit in your recliner while you're watching TV and just go to town. And this one, and they're machine washable because it says they are. That's all I can tell you. All right. So that's quite a few. The other, you guys, I don't know how many of you guys watch me on a regular basis or have gone back and watched my
I
older
do.
videos. Brett has been going back and watching my older videos. How do I know this? Because she's been commenting on them.
Good girl, Brett.
He has. Noelle, I think some lady sent you a super sticker. Yeah. Did somebody else send me one?
Hey, Dom.
Is Dominic in here?
Mm-hmm.
What?
He used to latch hook.
Everybody meet Dom. If you don't know Dom, my buddy Dom, primetime treasure hunter. Jan was so nice to let me borrow her cart and drive to Syracuse. Hey, Smarty Pants, I used to latch hook as a kid. I bet you did. My brother's latch hooked. Why not? All kinds of things. I want to see you, Mrs. Primetime, Miss PT. Get some.
She's a behind the scenes lady, Noelle.
She is. We saw more of her than we've ever seen in the last video, though.
Oh, yeah?
Who sent me another super sticker? Because I'm not seeing it, but thank you, whoever it was. Oh, Janet!
What?
Did you send me a super sticker?
The cat did it.
I know it was your mom. Your mom made you do it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So another form of needlework that I didn't really show you, and you guys ask Dominic. Dominic, we didn't really have the greatest estate sale to source from, but I look in everything. You will find these people ordered patterns and they become part of pattern clubs, and they would get this stuff. And inside here would be, you could either trace it, or all of these patterns for embroidery, not cross stitch, embroidery.
Are those iron-on transfers?
These ones aren't, but sometimes they were.
Yeah.
Like she used this one. What you would do is you would take a piece of paper and you would trace this with pencil, and then you would lay the paper on it and do it that way. But you will see a lot of these in little. I don't think I brought any of those in. This is I don't even know if there's a date on this. Printed in the USA. By the way, Dom, that map that I bought for $5 that was sitting at the table is listed for $599. Just saying. These things are priceless. you can't get this stuff anymore. And so if you know somebody with a large plotter, or you just take really good pictures, you can, it has all of the directions in there. And then the newer ones, directions are over here. Let me just get that right. The newer ones, and when I say newer, I'm talking about the 60s, would be iron on. And sometimes you could get two, if you're really good, you could get 3 iron-ons on them really quick. And people use those. The exact duck with candle brings brings back memories. I think we had a tree ornament, something made out of that. Could very well have. So this is, and
So the way that I would
embroidery.
transfer those is I would use a light box, or I would make a light box, and that's how I would put it on the fabric. So I'd actually
Sure.
starch the fabric so that I could draw on it with pencil. I would tape that to a piece of glass with a light underneath, or an actual light box, or I actually have an LED light box.
They didn't have light boxes back then.
I know, they had windows, and that's what a lot of people did. They taped them to the window with the sun shining on it, and they put the fabric on top of it and taped that, and then they traced it right through.
Yes, that's exactly how they have those. And give me 10 seconds. Okay,
10,
maybe 20.
9. Oh, okay.
I'm going behind
Oh,
the
sure.
curtain.
Sure. Disappear while the crowd is starting to go after me for not buying shoes yet. Now they're threatening to get Jackie with the mom voice on me.
They're threatening to get Jackie with the mom voice on you for what?
Because I haven't bought shoes yet. Oh, great. Now Noelle's on me. Yeah. What are you showing here? You were showing.
Did you just
Hello.
send me a
Hello.
super chat and you haven't bought shoes yet?
Is this thing on?
She's shushing me. Okay. I did not pay the price you're going to see on these. I paid half of it. So here's your little flour sack.
Look how cute.
I didn't even take them apart and look at them, you guys. I thumbed through to make sure that there was 7 of them, and I threw them in my bag because I was like, they have cows on them.
You're tattletale, Brett.
If you guys knew how many of these I have hiding in the garage, somebody would send somebody out to get me. All right, let's look at them together. This is embroidery. This is what these are. Here is Monday. Tuesday.
Don't you dare try to get in here, kitty. No kitties in the sewing room.
Uh-oh. Orishimo, you're in trouble. Wednesday. And these are larger than the normal ones. Thursday. Happy cows do not come from California. Nothing happy comes from California except for the people that are moving out of there.
I love the people in this chat that live in California. Don't you, Noelle?
I do. I love the people in this chat that live in everywhere. But I'm just saying, I'm a dairy farmer. I was a raised dairy farmer, and so I have to say that because I'm a Washington dairy farmer. Friday. This is my favorite one. Saturday, it's party time. Party time. She's got her flour sack dress on. Whoever embroidered these just did an awesome job. I mean, look at that. And
that's a lot of strands of floss.
Sunday. Yep.
That's how they did that with a lot of strands.
Okay, and most flour sack, you could use this. This is actually the size of a small, what would be called a pinnacle tablecloth. These are good sized. You didn't see these this big. You very seldom, I should say.
A
see
lot of
these this big.
times, quilters that are planning on putting it into a quilt or something like that, they'll do it on a half yard of fabric.
I'll tell you what, if I was a really nice person, don't let my kind face fool you.
Mm-hmm.
I will give these to my sister because
So
she owns 3 dairy farms, but she got out of here today with a whole carload of fruit and eggs and 2 Tupperware strainers.
So these are squares that are not hand embroidered. These are machine embroidered.
That's really cute.
Aren't they cute?
Those are adorable.
And they're just done on muslin, and I've got them scotch taped back. But there's the whole set here.
Hey, Jan.
Huh?
Do you feel like sewing again after being in there now?
I just
got-
can't.
You got the itch.
But yeah, I mean, I'm
Jan, you got
looking
the
at
itch.
I'm looking at some of the projects that have been abandoned, like right where I left them, you know. But you bringing up those squares made me think that I've got piles of squares of stuff that I've done that, you know, I never did anything with them. And what I will probably do is I will probably list that stack on eBay, or I'll sell them in a live sale. I know you do, Lana. You were probably there the weekend I stitched all these out. This was all done.
Maybe Jan and I will try to figure out a day to do a collab sale for some of this stuff. What do you guys think?
I think that once my mom's house sells, I think at that point I'm gonna work on probably getting rid of half of what's in this room. I mean, it's not, the fabric is a lot, but I had 3 quilting friends pass away and I inherited all of their quilting stuff. So it's extreme.
It is, but
They would be cute as a banner. Banner was one of the ideas I had to use them, but I hadn't decided.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Okay, so one other thing, let's switch. Let's do the old switcheroony here. One other thing, and I talked about it a little bit in that one wall hanging that was done by hand that Jan was talking about, all the different types of things that the person who made that had done. This is what is called ribbon embroidery, but there's also another name for it, and it is escaping me right now. I went to an estate sale, and this lady, before I ever got there, I have sold so many books, but this is all done with ribbon.
Yeah, that's all ribbon embroidery.
I bought so many books and I bought so many of these patterns, and she started her own company, and this one is not, but this is for a pillow. I just have boxes and boxes.
You need to list. Need to list them.
I listed for 4 hours today. I'm at 1,730 or so. I got 12 more to let go when we're done here. Brazilian embroidery. I knew I'd find it. It says so right there. Do you see that, you guys? The detail on that.
So Lana knows how to do ribbon embroidery, don't you, Lana?
Lana.
Lana.
This gal that did this, she taught it. She had your quilt room was her Brazilian, and her kids were like, I don't know. Somebody cleaned out a lot of the thread and stuff like that, which I was fine with, and they left all of this. They left all of the good stuff. I mean, you guys, this is like gold. And what is it? That goes right in a poly mail. Whoop! $3.89.
How's that go?
Whoop! Whoop! Always gotta have a.
All right, woman, I'm going to bed.
All right.
You lost
Thank
Julie
you so
Smurf.
much,
Say goodnight
Jan.
to Julie Smurf.
Good night, Julie Smurth. Are you going to bed too?
I'm probably
Good
going
night,
to do a
good night.
pop-up sale Saturday night.
You are?
I probably am going to do a pop-up sale Saturday night.
Pop-up sale Saturday night on Antiques from Karen.
Perhaps. But I'm
All right.
definitely ready for bed. So I will
You're
talk to
also
you.
doing a garage sale this weekend. So will
Yes.
that pop-up sale be from the Meow House?
It'll be from the Meow House after 6.
All right.
Nighty night.
Thanks for coming on.
Hi, Lewis. Bye, Lewis.
Leroy, how are ya? Yep, go right in a poly mailer. Okay, so I got a couple more things I'm going to talk about, and things that you guys can look for, things that are worth a lot of money, and things that I have done. You are going to follow them. Thanks a lot, Doug, for coming in. I appreciate that. So this rug behind me is one form of I don't know for sure if that's wool. That might not be wool. Wool rugs, hand hooked wool rugs are all the rage. And there is a gal, she has a vlog, and I believe that, good night. Are you leaving too, Julie? Day Trip Vintage, good night. Thank you so much for coming. Mavis Butterfield, check her out. Check her out. Find her and check her out. She lived here in Washington for years, and then through hooking rugs and stuff like that, and as her kids got older, she I think they live in Maine or somewhere like that now. Anyway, I wanted to show you some different forms of knitting needles. These are all different sizes, and knitting needles will have the sizes on the end. I personally do not like the metal knitting needles, but there's all kinds of things you can use these for, you guys. Let me just tell you. You can stick them in your pot and tie your plants to them. Anyway, some of you guys are probably all going, what? These are wooden. They are size 50. These would be used to make a rug or something like that. Here's some plastic ones. These are Bernat, which, if you guys know Bernat, that is a name to know. Bernat. My favorite, I should have brought my knitting bag down. Here's some more wooden ones. These almost look handmade, and they probably are. They have the sizes. Where did I just see a size on one of these? They have the sizes scratched. These are handmade. Scratched. Yeah, I either want the bamboo ones or the glass ones. You will find these plastic, almost fiberglass type ones. Also the size 10.5. And you will find these, and when you see these, you're like, what the heck? What's going on with that? This is a stitch keeper. It's just a little piece that goes on the end so that your stitches don't fall off when you're not knitting, and also it kee't it from poking you. Poke, 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 poke. I guess I do have a bigger, so I'm just gonna show you guys. This is it's just one bin. I don't know if I have anything down here that I knit. I knit a lot of hats with designs in them. Earplugs. You can use earplugs. You sure can. I can. Don't even know if I can find a. I will find some pictures of some hats that I made, and I will put them on Instagram. Does that work for you, Brett? But my brother loves the Punisher. He has a vehicle, vintage. I'm trying to think what year it is. Satellite Sebring that he had painted olive green, and it's got a black top. And my cousins do paint, custom paint. They painted the Punisher on the hood, and I made him a hat that's olive green with the black Punisher on the front of it. And I did all that. It's been a while since I knit, just because I haven't had time. But oh, I love knitting in the evening. Dayton Valley Deals, how are you? I hope any of you guys and gals that I missed, I am super sorry, super sorry. Okay, so two more things. Wait a minute, it might be more. What the heck is this? I do not know why that made it in here. Must have been something in there I thought was good. Inconspicuous little cool vintage box, right? I look in everything. I open every box up, every cupboard, every book. You're hitting the oyster trail. Thanks a lot, Anne. The first thing that I saw in here was this cool ephemera. Straits Adjustable Loom. Instruction book number 3. This loom is super cool, and here is also another book. I don't know which book this one is, but they have patterns in them, and I don't honestly think, I believe I got this at the same estate sale where I got all the macrame stuff. You guys have to open boxes and look in. It still had the wool yarn. Straights, embroidery, worsted. That's the weight. Worsted is a weight for yarn. It'll 100% wool. There's 5 yards in here. Worsted weight is the weight of the yarn, the thickness. This is a loom that you would put together, which I'm not going to do that because I would have to let's get a picture of it here. You would put together, and you will see these more commonly now made by a company called Clover, and you'll see them all the time, round and square. Pick those up. They sell really, and look through manila file folders and boxes. Yes, sir. They all sell really well. It's a really good way to teach a kid to start doing this, or yourself. So I was really excited when I saw this. I got all of this stuff shortly before I went to Jan's, so that is why a lot of it's not listed. Plus, I'm only one person. Plus, I have a problem or two, maybe. All of this stuff goes in with textiles and such, you know. And so if you are in a house, if you are at a garage sale, or you are in you look through an estate sale and you see a sewing room, I urge you to go through the sewing room. I'll sit on the floor. All right, I haven't made the video yet. Let's see how much of this I can show you. Do you see those boxes over there? I went to an estate sale last Thursday to be exact, the very first day. And that lady was a member of the Hallmark Ornament Club. Yes, she was. If you saw my post on the Build-A-Bear kitty cat that I bought for $2 and sold for $366, I got that at that estate sale. I spent $728. I made over almost half of it back with that kitty cat Build-A-Bear. And everything else that I got, by the time I added it all up and divided it, I paid 73 cents for a piece. I got Sarah Covington. I got Crown Trafari, and I got Muffy Vanderbeer, Lennox ornaments. Anyway, it's probably going to be more than one video. I didn't do a live haul on Sunday because this week has just been, my oldest boy got the phone call, we need you down in LA, and he left Sunday. So it was just how, so she had the exclusive club ornaments, she did, and it was so disorganized, Amy, that I literally went outside. I got a vintage lawn chair and I brought it back in and I sat down and I just started going through the boxes. And then I was like, I can't do this. There's for me, even there was that much. So I ended up, they had minis, the Hallmark minis, and I ended up buying I just bought them all. They wanted $1 a piece. She ended up giving them to me for 50 cents a piece. By the time I divided everything was 73 cents. I made out. The reason I bring this up is when somebody collects something, they collect a lot of everything. She collected ornaments. So not only did she collect Hallmark, she collected Lennox, she collected ball collector ornaments, ball canning jars, some specialty ones from Alaska. I got them all. I got them all. And they bought me lunch. The estate sale dealer, Noelle, I'm going to go get lunch. What do you want? And I go, Barbara, let me buy you lunch. And she goes, like that. So they bought me lunch. So if you see that somebody has a sewing room or a quilting room or an art room, because vintage watercolors they're all, you add some water to them, they still work. And they go for a lot of money. Yarn goes for a lot of money. I have some yarn up right now from 1967, the year I was born. That makes it 54 years old. In the original envelope, I found it at the bins with all the stuff from the company with all the different colors that they had. I have that on eBay right now. I don't remember what I have it priced at. So this right here is from Sears. It is mohair. Vintage mohair made in Italy, Sears and Roebuck. What isn't collectible here? Sears is no longer around. This is mohair. It's from Italy. They already took, if you guys, any of you that knit or and crochet will understand this. When you get a skein of yarn, like so, you don't really want to knit out of it like this. Even if you can find the hole in the center, there's going to be a knot in it somewhere. So you get a ball winder, look it up. I didn't grab mine out of the garage to bring it in and show you. And I have some vintage ones. You get a ball winder and there's a thing that almost looks like a windmill, and you unwrap your skein. If it's a, I don't think I have one of those kind here, depending on how it is. Anyway, this one was probably done by hand, but I will take this. I'll either sell it like this, because this one is, one skein should be 1 ounce. This ball right here is 4.7 ounces, and let's see if this is exactly one skein. They didn't take this apart. So this skein right here is exactly 1 ounce. So this is worth a significant amount of money. So I actually have this. This is almost 5 ounces. So I actually have 6 skeins of this. If you had a cat named Mo, he could make those mohair balls for you. Easy money. Yep, he could. So, and just like Jan said, it's not just the old vintage quilts that are worth a lot of money. The new ones are too. This yarn right here is merino. See that? merino. This is a very well sought after and hand wash, lay flat to dry layer. Merino is 100% pure new wool. Now, even if you see, this isn't perfect, right? It's been laying around. Somebody probably did see what I mean by you'll pull the center out and there'll be a knot there. Is it not better to have it in its original package? Nope. I mean, is it great to have it in its original package? I have one of those that's in the original package with the thing, and I have the rest of it with it. So I know what it is. And another thing, when you're looking at yarn, people may have bought enough, or they thought they bought enough and they didn't. Yarn has a dye lot number. That one you can see it on, but you can't see it as well as I would like you. So if you only see one skein of yarn, you might want to comp it and see. Maybe it's lot D. Okay, here you're going to have on the label the COL, that's the color, that's that number right there. And you're going to have, I'm going the wrong way, you're going to have a lot number, that's D. That's a certain lot, dye lot number, and people will look, they need one more yard, one more skein, or a half a skein, or a third of a skein, whatever it is, to finish their project, and they want the same dye lot number because otherwise it won't look the same when they do their work. Bye, Glenn. Thank you so much for coming in. Starting to be issues with different companies, including Windsor and Newton, that have moved their manufacturing around. Quality has deteriorated enough for novices. Oh, absolutely. So when you guys go to sales, garage sales, you will find you guys, it's going to be a bonanza probably next year. Hey, Robert, what's that? When you go to yard sales, when you go to estate sales, all of these people that thought that they would get a hobby, like a lot of people started getting into houseplants and stuff like that. You are going to start seeing people shedding this stuff because they never really got into it, or they didn't have the patience to sit and learn, or they are now back to work and there's no way that they're ever going to do it. You pick these up. Let's go. Let me share this or I'll forget, and I'll be sitting here talking and somebody will be screaming at me, and okay, let's go look here. Hello, add to stream. All right. Let me look some of this up. Let's just look one of these up. These guys are asking $9.99 starting bid. This is the same brand. This is the same brand. See that? Patents. This is an older labels. And let's go to price plus shipping. And let's go to sold. Patents Classic 100% wool merino number 4 yarn, 6 skeins, 2 teal is the color number, and $29.96. Here's 4 classic merino. Merino wool is used in to make socks. It's used to make sweaters. It's used to make hats. But merino wool, you'll see if you go to Costco or wherever, you're going to see socks that are merino wool. Let me put my phone up here so that I can see what you guys are saying. Hi, Cha-Cha. How are you? People grab the budget brands copied in China on Amazon. Okay, I don't know what a set of 12. Okay, Brett, tell me what you're talking about in your next thing there. You've been racking my brain. What set size I loved? I had hundreds of pencils, but oh, you guys are back still. Okay, gotcha. Never mind. I pick up pens and pencils too. I sell pens. I sell everything that's legal. So here you go, you guys. 3 skeins, 2 skeins, and here's two skeins, 2 Patton's Classic yarn, worsted weight 100%, pure merino wool, royal purple wisteria. Well, those don't look like they're the same to me, and it could just be the lighting in the picture. So let's check this out. I wonder if, wow. Okay, you guys, here's a lesson on what not to do. I'm not saying all my pictures are perfect. Dye lot, you can't even 00212. Okay, that's for the dark purple. I don't see a dye lot, maybe. 2209, 2212. So let's see. They didn't even put it in here, but okay, colors 0212, 77308, 100 grams, 200. No, they didn't put both dye lots in there. There's 2 different colors there. So there you go. The dark purple one is 00212, and the light purple one looks like 7709. Those are the colors. They don't even have the dye lots in there. So that's something that you want as a knitter, as somebody who's looking for something. Can you see these skeins right here, how they're twisted? I don't know if it'll let me. It won't let me pull that up. Let's see if I can find a set. Let's see if there's one in the pictures here. Those long skeins like that are exactly what I'm talking about when you unwrap the thing off of it, and you get a Ravelry is your place to really look for all of this. Yarn ball winder. Okay, I've made a few of these. This is an electric one. This will show. And it's kind of confusing to look at this like this. I have one that I have mounted on a 2x4 and I sit on it. So you're going to take this is the ball winder, and it has a cone here, and a lot of people will save the insides of their toilet paper rolls or their paper towel rolls, and then when you slide your finished ball off, you can slide it, you can stick it right in the end of this tube here and pull your ball off onto it. But in order to have that, you either need to have somebody stand there and hold the ball of wine. If you have an electric one of these, you can do it yourself. I have one like this. I'm hoping you guys can see this. Okay, so see this one right here? I have one like this, and I have mine mounted to a board, and I just sit. Actually, mine's exactly like this one. This blue one right here. It has the pieces of metal that you put your stuff through. Same as this one. Same as this one. I have mine mounted to a 1x2, and I just sit on it. And then you take this knitting umbrella and you unwrap your yarn and you put it on there, and that hooks to the back of a chair and hangs sideways. And then you roll your ball of yarn, and when it's done, it looks like this, and then you don't have any knots. They actually have I almost feel like I'm a nerd here. They actually have a yarn ball holder. Okay, they'll have these bowls right here. If you guys ever see a wooden, if you guys ever see a bowl like this and you don't know what it is, it's not for incense. You put that ball of yarn in there and then you pull your thing out and it just spins around inside there. That's one way to do that. Then this is a spare cone bobbin, which is this piece right here. Of course, I'm not. Here's another ceramic yarn ball holder. Here's another way you can do it. I'm not okay. I made a bunch of these for my mom. Actually, I still have the box. I still have a bunch of them that I could make. I made a bunch of these for my mom and my sister. So once you're done with your yarn ball, and not these yarn balls back here because there's no way for them to sit on here, then you put your yarn on top of it and this piece spins. This whole piece, right? It almost looks like a glorified paper towel holder, right? See that? There's a little bearing inside there. I like this one better, but the ones that I made were quite some time ago. Anyway, it's a whole racket, you guys. It's a whole racket. It's a racket all the way around. So when you see these things and you don't know what they are, because a lot of times you're not going to know what they are. They're not going to be in the box. They're not going to be anything. You are either going to be tortured like me, who cannot forget anything I learned. And I don't say that in a bad way, because I know there's a lot of you that wish that you could retain the stuff you learn. I wish I could unload a lot of it, but it comes in handy for the job that I have chosen to end my life with, and that is reselling, because of the life experiences I've had, and because I guess I'm lucky enough to have a photographic memory. And so I know this stuff. Plus, hi, buddy.
Nanny?
Yeah, buddy.
Mac and cheese.
I'm going to make you some mac and cheese in a little bit. He's been sick for 2 days. Just going to say you can mod a paper towel holder. Yes, actually, absolutely. You know, and you guys are all crafty. There's so many things to do, but when you go into these estate sales or garage sales, or if you like to do that, and I'm assuming pretty much everybody at racket, pretty much assuming everybody in here likes to do a little garage sailing, estate sailing, and you find these cool things. Google Lens is your friend. It is your friend in ways. You have a larger hard drive than most. Aha. I try to pick up the external hard drives at estate sales. People don't even look at that stuff. It's amazing to me. Maybe here. Gina wants to know if you will share some of your mac and cheese with her. Dren.
What?
Gina wants to know if you will share some mac and cheese with her. You're getting the this, Gina. So I'm going to have to say that's probably a hard no. Don't say I didn't ask, though. You know, it's Annie's Organic. What can I say? He's not getting homemade tonight because that's not going to work. Anyway, so learn this stuff. This is why I do this. I want to share my knowledge of things that I know that just go by the wayside for a lot of people. When you see my sold listings on eBay or on Instagram, I usually am showing something that most people, I feel, give him some due. Yeah, he would love to have some of that. And his dad buys that for him every once in a while, but dad's in LA now. Poor kid stuck with nanny. I lost my train of thought. That one's going right through the station. So you know, learn this stuff and use Google Lens. Oh, when I share my solds on Instagram, my eBay solds, I do that because a lot of the stuff I sell normal everyday stuff too. I do. I sell a lot of odd things. I pick up a lot of odd things. How many of you guys would pick up this skein, vintage skein of Columbia Minerva Baby Nantuck? See the collar? See the lot? Would you pick up 2 of them? This is vintage 100% Orlon. It is not only Red Heart Coates and Clark. When I was telling you earlier about weight, that one was worsted weight. Let's see if this says on here the weight. Should 4-ply is what this one is doing. So that is the weight, that is how many strands are in one string. And ready to knit, pull out skein, shrink and moth proof, 49 cents. Exactly, Amy. You know, and I'll tell you what, if you guys need help, also, Amy, Miss Evan Owens, look at you guys. Here you go. Aunt Lydia's crochet thread. Skein of that. All of this stuff. Star Spangled Cotton Crochet Net. This has metallic in it. Garden 10. Let's look this one up. You're going to get, I'm going to say, I roll, you know. You know he loves you, Gina. What can I say? So we want to add this to the stream. Let's go back over here. Let's look up Garden. And 100%. And you guys see this kind of stuff on a label. It's just like seeing Murano glass. This right here to a knitter and a crocheter and a needle worker is like a beautiful Murano glass. 100% Egyptian. Did I spell that right? I did not, because why would I? Is a mercerized cotton. All right, let's see if they even have anything like that. Well, here's an artiste, and I don't know if that's what I just had in my hand. No, that's Aunt Lydia's. But $6.99, they're asking for these things. Artiste, I don't even know that brand, which means absolutely nothing. I've learned a lot tonight. Let's go check out some sold listings. Here we go. New lot of 8 Artiste 100% mercerized Egyptian cotton. So this is for this stuff. They paid $9.90 for it. I hope they got a good deal on it. This isn't this brand. Maybe I need to put the brand name in. Maybe that would help. Because Garden 10 is not the name of it. It is NAZILGELIN. See if that helps any. Did I spell that right? NAZIL. GEL Garden Glen, and it's not going to come up on here, so let's do this. And I'm trying to not have to, it's not going to do it. It's never going to do it. It never does it for me. Let's put this into Google and see if Google brings anything up. And then I know you can't see it yet. Hang 10. All right. So I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to remove this one. I have to talk myself through this. I'm so happy, you guys. What's going on between you and Mike? Am I gonna have to put the two of you in timeout? Gina. All right, here we go. This thread right here that I have in my hand, which I have no clue what I paid for, just putting that out there for you. Oh, we can look and see right here, shopping. $6.95, $4.29, eBay, handknitting.com. That's another one, like Ravelry, eBay. So the thing about getting one or two of these is you got a lot number that somebody wants. You got a dye color that somebody wants. So $3 Etsy. I was looking to see if Ravelry came up on here. Got so much. What are you doing over there, buddy? Anyway, you guys get the point. You get the gist, I'm assuming, because there isn't a stupid one of you in here. He does. Anyway, so I hope I brought you guys some information. I know Jan did 100%. Anything that you guys need, questions asked. If you're on Instagram and you're out shopping and you can video FaceTime me and I will help you. I've had many people do that. I've had people just send me videos or send me pictures while they were out at an estate sale. I have absolutely no problem helping you if I can. Mike, if you minded your own business, that would be a first. And I meant that in the nicest way. Just saying. Anyway, so hopefully this was a good show. Last week I had a hard time concentrating. Next week I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I'm thinking maybe Fiesta wear, maybe something. I'll figure it out. Tell you what, you guys got an idea, something you're really burning a hole in your head you want to know about? No, well, now you're just asking for trouble. What's your digits again? You gotta FaceTime me on Instagram, Brett. I've helped a lot of people, and I've had help from people here. You start learning. I'm gonna have Harry Humstone on one of these weeks. If you guys don't follow him, Harry Humstone. I don't have his link handy, or I would drop that. You can message me and I'll probably give you my digits, Brett. But I'm not going to put them on here because then Mike will have them and then I'll really be in serious trouble. Just don't tell him I said that. I don't want to hurt his one feeling. Last time I tried that, Noelle kept saying new phone, who dis, like 20 times in the floor. See, Brett? Anyway, I'm going to go make some mac and cheese for a little guy who hasn't eaten for 2 days because he's had the flu. And you guys have a great evening. I hope to do an estate sale haul on Sunday, whether I go to an estate sale or not. I have plenty of stuff to do haul videos. And then next week, and I'm not sure what time because he starts school at 9 and I used to do my coffee talk at 8. So I may be moving my coffee talk to 10 Pacific, which would be 11, 12 1 Eastern. All right. All right, you guys. Have a great night. Thanks for coming. Thanks for chit-chatting. Thanks for keeping me company. Thank you, Gina, for putting Harry's YouTube in there. And everybody have a great rest of the week. I'll talk to you later. Bye.